You're listening to the Super League pod, coming up on episode 117 of your favourite rugby league podcast. We've got all your feedback and shout-outs, some French cookery, small amount of dangerous driving on Mark's behalf. We've got a smattering of news from a quiet week in rugby league, as well as a look back at round 5 of the Super 8, plus all the mirthful rugby league banter you've come to expect from your favourite two rugby league voices. So strap yourselves in. It's time for your podcast with your views, the Super League pod. Okay, magic. Thanks everybody for joining us once again for this 117th Super League pod. As always, it's Tom and Mark talking you through not only your opinions but the week's events in rugby league. So, Mark, how's things? How's your week been, sir?
Yeah, busy week. Lots going on.
Busy week.
Not much fun, just busy. And my auntie had a birthday. She was 40.
Right.
Bought tickets for the Four Nations final.
Fantastic, which is exciting times.
Yeah.
Is that the first time you'll have been to Anfield?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Can we talk about your sartorial choices for the evening?
Wow, what's up?
Well, no, it's in honour of the NFL season starting, you've chosen to wear what I'm assuming is a vintage Pittsburgh Steelers jersey.
Our third uniform, but it's a throwback uniform.
It's like right, okay, fair enough, because the numbers are like 2 sheets of A4 paper. And as you move up and down, they
stay still.
They sit upon your lap, and they're like, it's like you're peering out from over the top of them. It's a cool jersey. Did you have to get that from when you were in the States, or have you bought that? You went to America on honeymoon, didn't you?
No, this came for my 30th birthday from my dad and Angie.
Fantastic.
For people who know the NFL but don't, because this isn't any good for people listening, is it? I'm wearing the Steelers.
When did we ever cater for the people that listen to the podcast?
Which is black and white hoops, which is a version of the first ever shirt that the Steelers wore back in the 30s.
Right.
But yeah, that's why it looked a bit silly. But
no, I'm not saying
Steelers get their season underway tonight. By the time people have listened to this show, the Steelers will have played the Redskins probably.
There you go. My Rams don't play till
after that.
Till later tonight, so I've got to record it and try and avoid the scoreline. But
How about your week?
Steady away, really. Nothing particularly interesting. It's been.
That's not one of your catchphrases, isn't it? What? Steady away.
Well, it has been steady away. Everything's just plain sailing.
Steady away and safe home. They're your catchphrases.
Safe home. Is that what I say to you? I've just said that to everybody.
Yeah.
Safe home, mate. All right. Dangerous home. That's what you can. That's what you can have this week. I was
nearly crashed into today. I wasn't driving. A friend of mine was driving. We were going to get a desk from my car to put into her car, and
I recognise that desk.
It's the
same as the one that you got for Lindsay and I.
Yeah. So, this car came flying round the corner. We were halfway turning right across the road, and this car came out of nowhere and just about got out of its way.
I presume you're okay.
Yeah, fine, but it was hairies and stuff, speaking about dangerous home, but anyway, what about your week? Steady away week.
Steady away, Erin completed her first week at primary school, which was great. She adored it. It was it continued, because we talked about it briefly last week. She'd had her first day. She's a little bit in love with her teacher, as am I, if we're being completely honest. So that's been about it. She was with me this weekend, so we've just done daddy and daughter stuff, really. It's been steady away, good fun. I can't stop. I'm dead conscious of saying it now, and I certainly won't be wishing you a safe journey home. Who's been getting in touch with us this week?
Well, it's been a busy week, actually. Loads of shout-outs, feedback, stuff to get through, and an absolute shed load of news as well. It's going to be a busy show, I feel, Tom. Right, Richard A got in touch. Now, Richard A got in touch by leaving a comment on the Spreaker website where our show is hosted from. So that's cool. He said, great work as always. Thanks for your time and effort.
Thank you for going to the effort to leave feedback in a place where we don't necessarily always check. Did it notify you, or did you just stumble across it?
No, it tells us we get an email to the podcast email account.
Do we get an email?
Yeah.
I get a lot of emails.
Yeah, well, we get an email to the podcast email account.
Fantastic.
But also I spotted it when I went onto the thing, yeah.
Well, thank you, Richard.
Because they're so infrequent comments on there, so it was quite alarming to see the one next to us. Oh, what's this?
Who's this?
Who's spamming us? But no, it was Richard.
Superb.
Talking about emails, Owen Hughes got in touch by email. He said, "Dear SLP, firstly, as I don't have to think about character count for once, I want to thank you guys for all the hours and hours you have put in to provide us fans with the show each week. You have become an essential part of my RL enjoyment each week, and I genuinely appreciate it." Now,
Great stuff, thank you. They're very kind words.
Indeed. Now to the point, smoking in rugby league players. On the way back from a game this year, we met a pro RL player at a service station. He was really nice and took the time to interact with us fans even though he was off duty. Then we saw him enjoying a post-game smoke. This was not at the end of the season. He was a first-choice first-team player who was playing the next week. Am I completely naive to be shocked by this? I thought I was paying these athletes to be at their peak of physical fitness each week through training, diet, conditioning and lifestyle. Is this just me? Would love to hear your thoughts on this and maybe some of the fans' thoughts too. Owen.
Well, first of all, I think it's terribly poor form that Owen was intelligent enough not to name drop and resisted the temptation. So the gossipy side of me didn't really get any needs met with this one. But it is an interesting point. You would expect that in this day and age that the lads are kind of geared away from doing that, but I suppose...
I mean, you see them get up to all sorts of hijinks when they're on the booze in the off-season. I mean, you see every year from Australia there's something going on.
Yeah.
From Mad Monday to kick off.
Well, yeah. I think the odd tab here and there, whilst it's not something that, you want publicised...
Yeah, but if you're having a smoke at the service station, it's not like you're on a night out. It's not like but then there's plenty of footballers who apparently have smoked. But I hear it more about footballers.
Yeah, well, that's what I got turned on to.
Berbatov and
Gianluca Vialli used to smoke. Apparently Vialli would come off the pitch and spark up in the changing rooms.
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon.
I suppose as long as they do the extra. It's unexpected. It's surprising in a sport that demands such aerobic capacity. I'm guessing this player must have either been a winger or a front rower, because they're either resting off the game or not getting involved as heavily in the action.
And you would say that given the emphasis that clubs place on fitness and the testing that will go on, that despite that, this player is obviously clearly hitting the right parameters.
Obviously, yeah.
So whilst we don't recommend it, and it certainly isn't cool, kids, it's obviously not have that tremendous amount of effect. I haven't got a tremendous amount against this. I think he's entitled to live his life, and if his club comes down on him, then that's his lookout, isn't it? And that'll be the risk he takes. I have no strong feelings against it, apart from the obvious downside it has to your health potentially.
I think if he's doing fine on the field, I don't think there's a problem. Wally Frogmore, well, anyone else who's got a view on that or might know more about players smoking and stuff, get in touch. Wally Frogmore, he said, regarding Super League rules for NRL, I have a love-hate relationship with the free play. I wish I could convey my queries/thoughts via text, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. But
I can't do a right lot with that, was.
I like the free play. If I was, I'd be putting it into the NRL. If I was, I just think over the time, there's still the odd time where someone just kicks a ball aimlessly upfield and hopes something good comes of it. But I also think players have learnt more to use it. But also
I'm racking my brains to see a time where it really was punitive against the team. That
the issue for me is more when you call or not call an advantage. It's over, and I think that's what the free play avoids. That's why I like it, I suppose. Lee Whitnall got in touch. He said, "It's not me that hears voices, boys. My superpower is cramming the weight of a Volvo into a 5'9" frame. #Lardman."
I'd also add to that eating the sheer volume of Reese's Pieces that he was advertising on Facebook over the weekend. About 1.5 kilos of chocolate. Lee smashed his way through, which is quite some effort, sir. I'd take my
living up to his hashtag.
I'd doff my hat to you, sir. That is Tom Crookian in its in your efforts, mate. What, bravo.
I've checked the rundown, and it was Mark Butler who was hearing voices, so I hope he found Dr. Bob's advice helpful.
I hope he realises that we're real people and not just like, voices in his head.
Well, probably if he's listening to us on headphones, we are just voices in his head.
Yeah, I know, but the line is becoming blurred now then, isn't it? Oh, God. Do you know what I nearly said? Kill your parents.
Another Frogmore one. He's been busy this week. He says, can I just say, even though Tom Crook put down his personal best as not being that good, I find it impressive. Most are used to putting down their efforts because they compare themselves to others. I'd rather focus on the fact that the goal of doing a 10k run was finished, regardless of time. If the comment was flippant or in jest, fair call, but hearing that you guys did it all is inspiring. I'm sorry for the long rant, but it's something that I feel strong about.
That's very kind of you to get in touch, Wally. It was self-deprecation is one of my I don't know, strong failings. I don't know. I guess
something that I rarely see.
Well, exactly. But in this field, it was something I chose to use. But no, I was made up to have gone on in the time I did, and I'm looking forward in a couple of weeks' time to shaving a fairly significant portion of time off that again in the Preston 10k, which I'm also running or continuing as part of my charitable stuff that we're doing for Refuge. So we're kind of a third of the way there in terms of the things that I'm going to be doing.
What's the website address if people want to donate to that?
You go to justgiving.com/Super League Pod stands up. And if you're unaware, and I don't see why you would be, Refuge is a charity that does a lot of work to support people who are victims of domestic abuse. So it's a very, very worthwhile cause in our opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I think what it is, it's the inner competitiveness of yourself, isn't it? You weren't putting down your effort, really, I don't think. You were buzzing when you realised your actual
I texted
time.
You, yeah, absolutely.
So certainly, you were very proud of what you did, and I'm proud of you too.
And it represents, development from where I started in February, where, I'll be completely honest, running 500 metres was a real challenge. It's a process, so I'm seeing the results. So, but no, I know Wally's just trying to reassure me and G me up. So I appreciate the contact and I appreciate the support that I've had from everybody across the board. Really, it's been wonderful and really helped me to kick on.
Yeah, and a big well done to all our friends who ran the Great North Run this weekend.
Absolutely,
the Hodge and Paul O'Brien were a couple of listeners that were involved. Paul was doing it with Matt King, wasn't he? So
That's
I'm
right.
sure you can find out. 10-year treble, I think, is the page on Just Giving if you want to add a donation on there. And he sent us a lovely picture with our mate Barry and Tez.
Yeah.
So good stuff. Glad that
they're just
Paul met the
all over our little podcast, aren't they?
Yeah.
Them two.
Right, good stuff. Moving on to Colin Render.
Short in his way.
Colin said, enjoying your rant on the Wigan game, agree that messing around at the ruck needs sorting. Every team does it, but how do we stop it? A big clampdown at the start of next season, ? Similar to what football have done with wrestling in the box. It would result in a lot of penalties and sin binnings to start with, but could eventually reduce the issue. #rant.
Should we talk about it in conjunction with this next point as well? Because it kind of all comes under the same umbrella for me.
So another Frogmore one there. He said, talking ruck speed, it's why the NRL brought in 2 refs, but hearing fans call for going back to 1 in Australia, how do you find a balance if you tried for unified rules again?
Well, first of all, I think we do need to clamp down on ruck speed, and I think it's dead easy to solve. I think if the referees are hard on it for the first couple of weeks of a season and there's an edict goes out in the way that they're meant to administer that, along with play the ball, which is something that they cleared up in a heartbeat in the NRL, getting that right as well. You can solve that problem relatively quickly. It only takes, for you to get pinged and lose a few metres a couple of times before you switch onto it. So that's, I would say, a relatively easy one to solve. The thing that gets my go, and it doesn't come up a lot really, and it surprises me, but the whole idea of unified rules, I think it's absolutely atrocious in professional rugby league that we have 3 different, albeit nuanced, interpretations of the rules. Why on earth there isn't just one overarching, overarching set of rules for this sport? It's one of the things that makes us look parochial and just divided as a sport.
Are we the only sport that operates like that?
I can't think of anyone else. Can you? There isn't one set of rules. I mean, I don't think there's one set of rules in domestic cricket or...
No, they'll have different parameters around the around the length of matches or the amount of overs that'll be, power play overs and that sort of stuff.
Right.
Obviously the 20 over